All right. I'm late. No one's surprised. All right, let me get all my stuff set up here. Is set up. Love to see it. Let's get back to radar for a second. All right. Let's go here. Live. There we go. That's looking pretty good. One second, guys. Sorry, I had a little issue setting stuff up. You know, it's complicated business. You know how it is. Why is this? I want to make sure I can see all my chats very, very good. Okay, that's good enough. What's going on, guys? Can you guys hear me okay? I'm guessing the music's blasting right now. Oh, it's not that bad? Yeah, OBS giving me issues always. Okay. Well, I might take a second. We got tons of cool stuff to talk about. But I'm gonna let a few people get in this stream. We got a nor'easter to talk about. We've got massive amounts of rainfall for the desert Southwest, which you don't hear every day. And then we've got an extremely cold anomaly in the subpolar North Atlantic, SSD anomaly, which is gonna potentially set up some good snow nor'easters for this winter. What's this, our latest GFS? Ooh, our latest GFS is pumping cold air back into the upper Midwest. Okay. Okay. Oh, look at all those temperature swings. Wow. Let's see what the GFS has in store for snow here. Moving forward. A little bit up there. Look at that. But this is a look at, yeah, in that it has a hurricane making landfall close to Texas as well. Down there. But this is the interesting thing that's happening this week. This is the interesting thing. Nor'easter. A October nor'easter. Let me explain to you something. There's a reason why we're seeing... You typically don't see a nor'easter until winter. Because you get a nor'easter by having a very variable jet stream. One that can kind of dig and pull up a low pressure from the south. We've got a little trough digging in here. We've got a high out here, and we've got this low funneling up. If this were wintertime, this would be dropping 2 feet of snow everywhere here. I'm not even kidding you. But it's not wintertime, or at least along the coast. But this is the type of setups we expect, at least I expect, to happen once or twice this winter. I think the mighty nor'easter is going to be back, and I have a lot of reasons why. This is exactly what you want to see in winter if you want big record snow chances in New York, Philly, DC, Boston, potentially down to Charlotte along the coast there. This is what you want. Jersey, you want this. It's not going to be cold enough, but we'll have the cold air there in a month or two. But yeah, and then we've got a tropical moisture that's going to be funneled in from the southwest down to the southwestern region. I'll turn this down in a second. I'll get to questions and everything. I'm actually looking at some of this real quick for myself. We've got something interesting going on down here. If we go to upper air wind, 500 millibar. So high pressure, clockwise motion, air, low pressure, counterclockwise air, and we have a dissipating tropical system down here. Where's it going to go? It's going to go whoop, And this southwesterly flow continues and continues and continues. Look at all that. Continues and continues and continues. We could see this is about to be monsoon conditions for Arizona, portions of Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, and SoCal here for 5 to 7 days. Funneling moisture into the desert. It's going to fix some drought problems. And then most importantly to me, we need to talk about today this major gap that we have. Look at where last time this year, that's where our subpolar North Atlantic was, and look where it is now. Wow. 2.5 degrees Celsius cooler. Am I day trading? No. What's going on, B? What's going on, Marissa? Troya, Morgan. Tufts, what's popping? Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, guys. We got a lot to talk about. Okay. Let me get back here real quick. We do also have a tropical storm down here. Let me just do one thing real quick. Oh, wow, it's chilly outside. I gotta close my window. One second, guys. What's happening in the Giants game? Better not miss anything important. One second, guys. I'll be right back. Swear to God. Oh, right as I walk out, Jackson Dart gets hurt. Great. Okay, yeah, guys. I just started. We're gonna get going. I'm just give me 4 seconds, and we're gonna get going. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. Promise you. Just give me one second. Let me see. One second. I'm just reading one thing real quick. Okay. What should we talk about first? Do we want to talk about tropical update? We see some interesting stuff in the Gulf potentially coming up here. Do we want to talk about winter update? Do we want to talk about our monsoon that's moving into the southwest, or do we want to talk about the nor'easter for the northeast this week? What do we want to talk about? Nicole, Commanders, B, appreciate you guys. Weather-wise, what's going on? Kimber, Brandon, what is going on, everyone? Leanne, nor'easter, Arizona, winter, all okay. We'll fly through. I'm gonna fly through each one quickly, and then we're gonna take time on each one. Okay. Let's start with I'm gonna fly through each one quickly, then we're gonna take time on each one. Here's the tropics. here is what's going on in the tropics. We've got a tropical storm out here, Tropical Storm Jerry. Jerry isn't feeling very feisty, so Jerry's just going to probably move up to the north and head out into the open ocean. Where's Bermuda in here? Is Bermuda in the way? Bermuda should be good. Okay, so that's what's going on. But we don't care that much about that. We want to see what's coming in the future. Let's take a look at our Western Atlantic. Let's take a look at the latest GFS run. Moving forward, there's Jerry, and there's our nor'easter. Okay? Nor'easter, Jerry. If this were winter, you'd have 2 feet of snow probably in Philly, New York City, and DC this weekend. Sorry, guys. This first nor'easter came a little bit early, but we're going to get more into that. Moving forward, oh, look at that. TCG, Tropical Cyclone Genesis, is what the American model sees happening in the central to western Caribbean pretty soon, within 120 hours, maybe within 100 hours. This might actually happen. Moving over the Yucatan Peninsula, I do not believe for 1 second that it's going to move into the Yucatan Peninsula with a central pressure of 990 millibars and then come off the other coast with 997 millibars. No, it would weaken way more than this. The models never take into account how quick storms weaken over land, especially mountainous terrain. Anyways, so that being said, the GFS thinks this is going to moving to the coast of Mexico here, maybe as a Cat 2. Probably be weaker than that if it does go over the Yucatan like that. But there are some other runs that actually did some other interesting stuff with this storm. GFS hasn't been seeing it. Here's the GFS a while ago, taking a Cat 2 or Cat 3 into New Orleans. Don't worry, this is at the end of the run. It thinks this storm's going to come up into here, stall out for a little bit, and circle around, and then go in. The odds of that happening are pretty low, guys. But I think the odds of getting potentially some TCG, Tropical Cyclone Genesis, Tropical Cyclone in the Caribbean and Gulf in the next 7 days, I think the odds are pretty good. I'm willing to bet within the next 48 hours that the National Hurricane Center gives us an AOI, area of interest, in the Caribbean or Gulf. All right, hold me to that. Okay, that's what's going on with the tropics. Now I'll run over our nor'easter really quickly. So I'm going to go into here, GFS, precipitation, composite reflectivity. We'll take a look at the east. Here's what's happening this weekend. As we get into Friday, Saturday, here we go. Saturday, moisture starts moving into the coast of South Carolina, North Carolina. You've got a low pressure system, a piece of energy moving down here from the northwest. You've got our low pressure here moving up to the northeast. You got a high pressure here that's helping to squeeze this in between here. Now, a lot of people have been saying, why isn't, this is going to get down to 990 millibars potentially or lower, and it's, moving up from the Gulf Stream, the tropics. Why wouldn't we just call this a tropical storm? If this thing was out here, we'd probably call it a tropical storm, or out here. Well, this is going to kind of, a lot of what's helping with this storm's vorticity, with its rotation, is the fact that it's connected with the frontal boundary up here. Sorry, I can't talk. So this is kind of a system that's being steered. This is what we get. This is why we call it a nor'easter. It's getting its energy from this front that's pushing down and this other piece of energy, and that's helping with its rotation into land as well. So that's not a tropical like quality. This isn't a cyclone that's spinning itself up and moving into the coast. It's kind of being pulled up the coast, and that's helping with its vorticity. So it's a nor'easter. It's not a tropical. It's not a tropical storm, but it's close to being a tropical storm. But it could have some tropical like wind gusts and heavy rainfall. We could see 5, 6, 7+ inches from the coast of Maine all the way down through South Carolina, close to the coast. Some people will see a lot more than others. Depends how close. Does a low pressure sit over land a little bit more? Does the low pressure sit off of land a little bit more? It really depends. But again, if this was winter, this would be huge snow for everyone. It's just a little too early. Obviously, it's way too warm right now. But that's, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it lingers around, and then it's out. It's kind of fun to look at this when you look at wind. Remember, guys, I'm going over the monsoon in the southwest, winter updates, tropical updates. I'm going over everything right now. I'm trying to do it quickly. It's kind of fun looking at this from... That's not what I want to look at. I want to look at it from... Let's look at like our vorticity here. Give me 1 second. I might want to go to a different model. Give me 1 second. I want to show upper air heights. Here we go. 5 minutes with vorticity. So here we go. Watch what happens up here. Here's our piece of energy from the north. Here's our trough. It's helping to pull this up. And we have high pressure up here. That's helping to pull it up as well. Here's our low pressure right here. That's going to turn into our nor'easter. Now, as our low pressure system goes up here, moves up to the north, it starts to get pulled into the coast. These systems start to kind of Fujiwara. We have a low pressure running into a low pressure, and they start to spin around each other. Watch this. See how they start to wrap around each other, and now they're just one big they just become one big low pressure center, one big trough as they push off the coast. But because without that piece of energy up to the northwest, this potential nor'easter would have otherwise probably just moved off to the east because of that high pressure pulling it off to the east. But because of this, it's getting all that moisture pulled into land. So as we get into Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have a really nice easterly flow, consistent moisture into the mid-Atlantic and into New England, and potentially some nice winds as well. So it's going to be a pretty powerful storm. All right, really quickly, southwest, what's happening down in the southwest? Here's the problem. High pressure here. I was just talking about this, but I'm going to go over it really quickly again. We have a lot going on this weekend. High pressure here, low pressure trough moving in here, and we have a dissipating tropical cyclone down here. Well, where's all this moisture from our tropical cyclone going to go? It's going to get pulled into the desert southwest, and here we go. You'll see all that moisture, and this southwesterly flow, that means winds coming from the southwest moving to the northeast, is going to look as we go day by day. Southwesterly flow, southwesterly flow, southwesterly flow, southwesterly flow. So we could have 7 straight days of excessive rainfall in here in the desert. And I'm not kidding. 7 straight days of excessive rainfall. If we look at our forecast here, watch this. Just look at the southwest. You never see something like this. Here, let me get down there. Let's look at the southwest. Ow, why's my hand hurt? Okay. Day 1, excessive rainfall. Day 2, excessive rainfall. Day 3, excessive rainfall. Day 4, excessive rainfall. Day 5, excessive rainfall. We could go into 6 and 7. This is a desert. You don't get a week straight of excessive rainfall in a desert. All I'm saying is there's going to be some flooding issues, and people there need to have their alerts on this weekend and through next week as well, potentially. So last thing I want to talk about, and then we can go into more stuff, and I'll answer all your questions. Gemini and Jasmine, I appreciate you guys. Is this our subpolar North Atlantic SST sea surface temperature anomaly? It is much colder than it's been in a long time. The subpolar North Atlantic. Where is it, you ask? Well, we all know where the North Atlantic is, right? This is the North Atlantic, and it's the subpolar North Atlantic. So, of course, it's up here near the poles. So it's right up there, right down to the southeast of Greenland. By the way, Greenland is not that big. Maps stretch these things. Greenland is not that big. But what does that do? Well, let me explain what it does. How should I explain it? Maybe on weather-wise. Give me a second. Let's do this. How is this going to affect our... It could drastically affect our winter, if I'm being honest here. Why do I have these outlooks on? Can we turn that off? Okay. I said full disk. Goes east. Okay, 1 second, guys. I want a good look here. Here's what happens. Here's what happens. When you have a cold or well below average subpolar North Atlantic SST sea surface temperature up here, you start to get a steep temperature air gradient between your land and your sea. You'll have the warm, you'll have, very cold waters, polar waters, and North America that's much warmer. And the steeper that difference is between your land and your sea, that can affect a lot of things. That can, one, enhance our jet stream, which are already in a weak La Nina. By the way, we entered a weak La Nina today. We're in a weak La Nina. Told you. All right. And so that can enhance this jet stream, okay, because you know what happens. Opposite air masses, cold and hot, dry and moist. These air masses, when they clash, they don't like each other. That's where we get all of our weather features from. That's where we get enhanced severe weather, enhanced jet streams, all that stuff. So we're going to have a steeper gradient here. What this can also do with it when we have a cold subpolar North Atlantic is put us into what we call a negative NAO, a negative North Atlantic oscillation. And that typically allows, and it has to do with an enhanced jet stream from this interaction. But what that does is typically pulls a lot more cold air down into the eastern US and actually creates a more mild western US. When we have a negative AO, what will usually happen is we'll get some blocking out here. So cold air is going to come in here and not just shoot out. Cold air is going to dive into the east and get stuck. It's going to have nowhere to go, and you're going to have cold air building. Now, the longer that cold air builds, the higher chance you have of these nor'easter events, because all you need is one nice low pressure piece of energy moving up the coast with a nicely timed trough. All your cold air is in place, and suddenly all of that tropical warm moisture mixes with all that cool air. That extra cool air that's there because of your negative NAO, because of your cool subpolar North Atlantic SST, and then you get big nor'easters. I went back and I was looking at analogs, and almost every single year we had a very cold subpolar North Atlantic. We had 1 or 2 big nor'easters that year, at least one. So I'm putting my money on, if we continue to see this area, this blob, stay very cool, I'm willing to bet and we've been on a drought out in the east. We haven't had a big nor'easter in about 5 years, but I'm willing to bet we see 1 or 2. Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, AMOC for short. That's this region up here. So anyways, I haven't seen anyone talking about this at all. I like looking at temperature anomalies, especially sea surface temperature anomalies, because they can drastically affect our winter. Winters are a lot more variable and are affected a lot more by our water temperatures around the globe, sea temperatures and ocean temperatures, because you typically have a much more variable jet stream during winter. And so it's more easily influenced by small changes in water temperatures, unlike summer, where you have a lot more heat spread out over a large area. And a lot of times your jet stream holds down to the south, kind of near. You have more of a zonal flow or jet stream that holds down to the south near the equator. This is a big deal. This with the warm NPO and a weak La Nina that we're in now. It's not, oh, are we going to go into a weak La Nina? We're in a weak La Nina. This is a big deal. Weak La Nina, 80% of the time means a much colder winter for most people in the States. This typically means more cold air and more snow for the east. A warm NPO typically means more winter storms, more storm systems moving in from Canada throughout the winter season. So I think we could have not only see a much colder and much snowier winter than we've seen in a while, but I also think we're going to see potentially the opposite. There's going to be certain portions of the U.S., and in my opinion, the Southwest and far Southeast, that may end up being the opposite. Weirdly warm and mild, not the whole winter, but through portions of it. This is a crazy setup for winter, and this right here may be the biggest anomaly that no one's talking about. So anyways, that's what's going on. Let's see here. Kyle, you're late. Kyle from Door, Alabama, you're late. So we could have another massive snowstorm like last year. There wasn't, well, I guess there was kind of a big snowstorm last year. There wasn't a massive snowstorm last year anywhere out east. I mean, the southeast, yeah, the Gulf, but not for the Mid-Atlantic, like coastal Mid-Atlantic, coastal New England. There wasn't a big snowstorm last year. Maryland had some decent snow, but a big nor'easter is dropping 2 to 3 feet of snow in like 12 to 24 hours. Like, that's a big snowstorm. You go to bed and you wake up and there's like 2.5 feet of snow outside, and you're like, what? What about Texas for winter? Will there be a repeat of 2021? Southern portions of Texas may end up being pretty mild, but North, central, and northeastern Texas could have a well below average winter. I don't know snow wise if I'd expect it to be very good. You know, this area of the country gets a lot of moisture with weak La Niñas. Let me close this out. Gets a lot of moisture with weak La Niñas. So does this area. This area is kind of a question mark. It's a hit or miss for up here. But again, a warm, very warm Gulf, warm MPO, and then this anomaly we have in the subpolar North Atlantic SST. All it takes is 1 or 2 nor'easters for everyone up here to break their averages. One or 2 big snowstorms, and you guys have 30 inches on the season. So this is gonna. We're gonna have very cold temperatures, a very warm Gulf with a lot of moisture able to be pulled off it, and potentially periods where we're stuck in a negative NAO, which is going to be the biggest assist in potentially seeing those nor'easters. Yeah, I've uploaded winter prediction, and it's funny because I said that I was gonna, as winter got closer, I said in October I was gonna release another one. But my winter prediction has actually may look better now than it even did when I made it. It's only changed in favor of pretty much what I said. I'll show you in a second. Did you guys see AccuWeather just put out their winter prediction? I want to show you something. Let's see if they literally copied me. AccuWeather just put out their winter prediction. Watch. I actually think they copied me. Watch this. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Watch. Where is it? They posted it. Watch this. Come on. Okay, here it is. Here's AccuWeather's winter prediction, okay? And there's something that I want to point out. Come on, get out of here. There's something that I want to point out here, okay? Well, can this thing get out of the way? Whatever, we can't see the whole thing. Well, maybe if I just screenshot it and then pull it up, I'm going to do that. Where does that go into my screenshots? I want to show you something funny. Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me go to my screenshots real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. Sort details. Give me 1 second. What is going on here? View details. Oh yeah, it's on my desktop. Okay, never mind. I got it, guys. Okay, here's their winter prediction. And then I'm going to show you mine, what mine was. One thing that I gambled on, we still don't know who's right, if AccuWeather's right, if I'm right. We don't know. One thing I kind of gambled on, though, was the Pacific Northwest, because in a lot of weak La Niñas, this area up here, it's not going to let me draw on it. Whatever, you guys can see. In a lot of weak La Niñas, the Pacific Northwest is actually cold and snowy, or cold and wet. And I just looked at some analogs and saw some things, and I said, that's the one thing I would change, really. Here, I'll pull up my winter forecast so you guys can see the comparison. Where did I put that? Photos? No, that's not the one. Let me go back in the details. Give me a second. Large icons. Oh, it's in here. I need to organize my files better, guys. I need to organize my files better, I swear. But I want to show you this because it's kind of funny. Uh-oh, I hear my son. Where'd it go? Now I'm annoyed. Just give me 4 more seconds. Hey, wait. Oh, I found it. Okay. Sorry that took forever. Okay, here's my winter forecast, guys. I want you to see if there's any similarities between mine. Notice where I have the cold air. Polar vortex coming in, center country. That's not that hard to predict. Large snowstorms, above average snow. This would suggest potentially nor'easter here. Mild, dry and mild, all the way down through the southeast, and then dry and mild up through the Pacific Northwest. Okay, and this is what AccuWeather put out. Dry and mild around the edges here. Polar vortex here. So temperature-wise, we have they put out the exact same forecast I did for the most part. Now, I haven't seen their snow forecast. But you know what they did that other people haven't been doing, though, is they think it's going to be slightly mild or above average in Oregon and Washington. It might not be. This is still an outlook. But everyone else was saying, no, AccuWeather agrees with me on this. But it all depends where the jet stream sets up. No, but I'm thinking that. Did they put out their snow predictions? That's what I want to know. Give me 1 second. Did AccuWeather put out their snow predictions? They're talking about this. Warm. These waters off the west coast and extending farther out are very, very important in our winter forecast this year. There have not been many winter seasons in recent decades that have had a similar setup across this vast area. We've talked about that a lot if you guys have been in my streams. This is our NPO, North Pacific Oscillation, and it is hot. Precipitation departures. I could mostly get on with this. Remember what I told you guys just 2 seconds ago? The first time I'm looking at this. And I said a lot of weak La Niñas. We get a lot of moisture in this region and in this region. And in this region. Is that literally what I had circled? That's literally what I had circled when we were just talking about this. Theirs is a little bit off. But I can agree with this, where we could see excess moisture there. I think we may get... We'll have to see that we may be able to bring that in farther to the coast because of our negative NAO that's setting up, or our extended negative NAO that could set up. But I can agree with this. Here's how they expect this. Okay. Yeah. How our La Nina reshapes the weather. You know, if you're in an El Nino, your jet's probably down here. So cooler, wetter conditions for the south. You're in a La Nina, your jet's up here. Does it come down like this and dig up like this? If you're on the north side of this, you're cold and snowy. And if you're on this side, you're warm and dry. It all depends. Does that jet come in right above Washington and cut down? Or does it come down through Oregon for a lot of the winter? And then you're going to have a very cold and wintry Pacific Northwest. So we got to see where that jet stream is going to set up. But I think AccuWeather, well, of course I agree with AccuWeather the most, because AccuWeather has the most has a winter outlook that matches mine. Here's something interesting, guys. Snowfall predictions from AccuWeather. I'll tell you what I agree with, what I don't agree with. Minneapolis got less than 30 inches last year. Minneapolis averages over 50 inches of snow a year. They think Minneapolis is going to hit their average. So do I. It could end up being a very snowy year for Minneapolis, 80, 90 inches. But if I had to give one answer, I think Minnesota gets an average amount of snow. But guess what? If you're a snow lover in Minnesota, Minnesota's averages are very high. Minneapolis average is 52 plus inches of snow a year. So just hitting your average amount of snow in Minnesota is still a lot of snow. You can see here they're expecting North Dakota to be up at their averages. Expecting around averages in Missouri, 13 to 18 inches. Denver, Colorado, they think could be right there around averages. Now, is there anyone that they think could be slightly below? Spokane, Washington. Yeah, not surprised about this. Did they do any more? Oh, here we go. Here's interesting, guys. Some more predictions from AccuWeather. I'll tell you what I agree with, what I don't agree with. Boston, Massachusetts. Average snowfall. So their average snowfall is 49. They think Boston could be low. That's the thing, though. You get 1 or 2 nor'easters, you're going to blow your average out of the water. You're going to be at 70 inches by the end of the year, so we'll see. I would actually put this up. I think Boston hits their average. New York, they think New York's going to be below their average. I'm sorry. I'm thinking I'm convinced we're going to at least get one big nor'easter. People don't understand the difference between a snowstorm and a nor'easter. A nor'easter can put down 24 to 30 inches of snow in like a day, okay? Like in a day or two. If that happens, everyone's going to be over their averages. And it just, we're going to have a nice setup. We have a nor'easter going on this weekend. It's just not cold enough right now. So I think Philly hits their averages. Philly's average snowfall, by the way, is not 23 inches. It's about 18. They're taking Philly Metro in the surrounding areas. The actual city is about 17 to 18 inches. This is wrong. But I think Philly hits his... I think we all get slightly above average here, actually, just because of what's going on in the subpolar North Atlantic. Pittsburgh, PA. I think this is going to be a big question. I don't know. I'll say average to slightly below average for Pittsburgh, PA. Buffalo, New York. Oh, you bet. Buffalo, New York. We got warm Great Lake waters. We're gonna have well below average temperatures likely with that weak La Nina. The lake effect snow this year could be legendary. I think Buffalo, New York, if you average 95 inches, you could get 130 this year. In Chicago, they expect to be at or slightly below their averages. I think Chicago could hit their averages. I don't think Chicago's gonna have a record-breaking year, but again, the Great Lake region does typically see more snowfall in a weak La Nina, so I'm pretty on board with most of this stuff. So you can see this. This is another good one too, and then I'll move on from this. We'll talk about other stuff. Snow departures from historical averages. Okay, from historical averages, but from what time frame? Oh, this is what they're expecting. Okay. So they're expecting from historical averages above average snow in this region. Above average snow in this region. And they think below average snow in this region I could actually see. I'm sorry, ski lovers. I think we'll hit averages, but if anything, it's going to be below average. This right here, though, nah, I think we get our nor'easter. I would say we're above average. This is what I'm going to change in here. I got to go with my gut. Okay. Let me answer more questions now. Do you think Houston even has a little chance of snow this year? It's going to be tough with this Enzo. You always have a chance. No one in their mind thought with the climate pattern we were in last year, we were going to get 12 inches of snow along the Gulf. There was nothing that was hinting at that. So yeah, you're not out of it. But like I said, I'm thinking it's going to be milder. This region in specific, maybe even up in Washington here, is going to be a little bit warmer. And I think everyone north of this line could be colder. The biggest standout of a weak La Nina, especially an enhanced weak La Nina from our warm MPO, the biggest standout is how cold it typically is for much of the country. Let me show you guys something right now too. Let's look at our Euro weeklies and see what it's just for fun. Don't take this too seriously, but what it thinks it's I just want to see how aggressive how aggressive the European weekly 46-day snow total outlook is. Don't pay attention to where this is putting snow. You're not going to see snow. Like models can't predict snow this far out. Okay, they cannot. But I like seeing how aggressive it gets, because that tells me how quickly it thinks it's going to get cold and how quickly we could see snow. Here's where the Euro thinks we could see snow in the next 46 days. You can notice the areas it's being pretty aggressive in. Inland New England. Of course, the Rockies. It's being pretty nice for 46 days to the upper Midwest as well. I mean, if you get snowed up here in Texas and Oklahoma in October, November, that would be impressive, wouldn't it? Do I think a couple of cold outbreaks for New York City? Yes, and I can tell you exactly why. We were just talking about it. With that anomaly that we have up there, in the subpolar North Atlantic, that is screaming from the mountaintops negative NAO. A negative NAO, 9 out of 10 times, produces more cold outbreaks for the East, including the coastal East, New York City, and a more active storm track for the East as well. So, yes, there's no way that I would say that I don't expect some very cold outbreaks and the chance for 1 or 2 nor'easters this year with that anomaly. That anomaly affects the East Coast a lot. 100%. Okay. Pennsylvania, for the first time in a long time, well, you know, I want to say for the first time in a long time, I think that Eastern PA might outsnow Western PA. At least, well, average-wise. Western PA is more mountainous and more inland. It gets colder. I think we could break our averages faster or quicker, in Eastern PA than Western PA this year. But it's hard for the Eastern PA to get more snow. It's just lower elevation, less cold air. Yep, winter prediction videos uploaded on my page. Full things on my TikTok or YouTube. Miss Chong, Claudia, Laddie, KJ, Ethan, everyone, I appreciate you guys. Iowa City, I'm strongly confident in some very concerning polar outbreaks, temperature-wise. Snow-wise is going to be interesting. I'm not expecting a huge above-average snow year for Iowa, but with a more active track from our warm NPO, we're going to get a lot of Alberta clippers through this region here. They're not going to drop, right? This is well, I don't know this for sure, but I'm telling you, with this type of climate setup, what you would expect and what the analogs usually show you with this setup. You would expect not a ton of big snowstorms for Iowa, but you would expect more frequent snow for Iowa. So say in the month of December, you have 16 days where it snows, but each snow is 1 to 4 inches, or 1 to 2 inches small. But Iowa in December and January, you spend a lot of that time below freezing, so the snow just accumulates. It's not melting. With this type of setup, you can get just Alberta clipper after Alberta clipper after Alberta clipper up here in the upper Midwest portions of the plains, more northern plains, but so where you get more frequency of storms, but you don't get these, instead of getting like one major big snowstorm every 3 weeks or once every month, So for people who like when it snows, this is a setup where you could see a lot of smaller snowstorms. I'm excited for this winter year too. Oklahoma fall anytime soon. Yeah, let's see what our our teleconnections are going to start telling a big story soon. Arctic oscillation, EPO, NAO, a little bit of a dip, PNA, big PNA spike here. This could be interesting actually for the end of October. That'd be a lot of cold air outies. Oh, what is our WPO doing? Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Let me get back to what I was doing. Yeah, here, I'll show you really quickly what we're thinking temperature-wise. The European, this is the 18Z. The 18Z sees a little bit of a cool down burst of cold air trying to push down into Oklahoma and the plains, but a ridge kind of stopping it right around here. And then heat building back up in the plains. The GFS does see it a little bit differently. The GFS thinks, I think that cold blast is going to make it a little bit farther. You can see here. The GFS is like, hey, we may actually get some very cold air into Kansas, northern Oklahoma, western Oklahoma. Ridge builds back up. See, the GFS has another very warm period here. A ridge building up over the central U.S. And we're getting this cold air out here, cold air out here. Don't worry. It's October. With this setup we have, we're in a weak La Nina now. Okay, we just entered a weak La Nina. Give our jet stream time to set up. We're going to see our jet stream. It's either going to settle in like this, or it's going to settle in like this, or it's going to settle in like this. But what's very consistent with the weak La Nina, and yeah, there's a 10% chance that it doesn't happen because it's an 80-90% confidence. What's very consistent is below average temperatures basically for everyone in here. That's the highest confidence in a weak La Nina, just because we know where that jet stream sets up in a weak La Nina. So we may get another ridge building up again through October. But if you like cold air, count down the days. We're going to have some cold air that's probably going to settle into the plains, including Oklahoma, Kansas. That at the end of this run, it thinks it sees that. And it'll probably be there for a while. What's second tornado season looking like for Oklahoma? Well, look at all this. Look at all the cold and warm anomalies. We're not going to have. That's a good question. I mean, you've got a big. This is going to be a very interesting baroclinic zone right here with all this cold and warm air running into each other. Very interesting baroclinic zone right here again. You could see just by our setup here. And if you want to, we could take a look out at the 850 millibar wind. Let's take a look at the 850 millibar wind, and I'll tell you what. This right here, this upcoming Monday, we'll have to watch this. This could be some severe weather right here. Moving forward, this will be interesting to see. We got a nice little jet streak right through here. We're gonna have to watch out for that. This right here, again, why could this be severe weather? You have a southerly flow. What does a southerly flow means? Winds coming from the south. What does wind coming from the south do? Well, it's pulling in warm moisture from the Gulf. What's going to be behind this right here? This is a low pressure. What's going to likely be behind this? Cold air. What's going to likely be here? Warm, moist air. Okay? This would potentially be a severe weather outbreak, tornado outbreak type situation. Don't worry, though. This is like 200 hours out. We don't know yet. Again, this is all suggestions of a lot of severe weather at the end of October, beginning of November. The 850 jet, this would be a major severe weather outbreak, actually, if this happened. Luckily, this is at the end of the run, so we have no idea if this is going to happen or not. This would be a major severe weather outbreak. High pressure, low pressure, major funnel right here. Tons of shear at the 850 millibar level. Low level. This would be a crazy day for everyone. Don't worry. That's 348 hours out. But what I'm saying is, we weren't seeing our low-level jet do, we haven't been seeing our low-level jet do a lot of this. So if you were to just look at the GFS and take it for its word right now, you would probably think that we'd have 3 to 4 big severe weather outbreaks over the next 2 to 3 weeks. But, you can't trust it that far out. But with all this, that's what happens. Something like this is going to set up and fall before we get into winter. So could it be at the end of October? Yeah, it could be. Appreciate the follows, guys. By the way, let's go back to this. Ice and snow. Oh my gosh. Look how much snow and ice is up here right now. It's already winter up here. This is so much ice. What's our climate reanalyzer ice? Guys, the more ice and snow you have early season up there, the easier it is for cold air to be transferred over land down into the States. So it's a signal of cold. Here we go. Check this out. Northern Hemisphere sea ice extent. I do want to say something. Nothing against the Pope. Okay? Great guy. He said something the other day where he said, he was talking about, global warming, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into it. But he said, we have less ice on the planet than we've ever had now. Love the Pope. Great guy. He's completely wrong. He's completely wrong. We have more ice on the planet than we've had in 15 years. Okay, in 2012, we have more ice on the planet than we had in 2012. The ice is doing the best. Our global temperatures are cooler than they've been in 3 years. We have more ice on the planet than we've had in 12 years. So, I mean, actually, this is a good sign. For people who get nervous about climate change, this is a good sign. I'm not saying, yay, it's just a good sign. You want to see a little bit of a cool down. Now, we're in an interglacial period. The Earth is going to be warming whether humans are on it or not. Well, we're in an ice age. We are still in an ice age, but we're coming out of an ice age. If there's ice on the planet, it's an ice age. We're in an ice age. We're coming out of it. It's called an interglacial period. As our interglacial period started about 11,000 years ago. And I think an interglacial period will last, I don't know, 40,000 years, something like that. You guys can check me on that. But we've been in an interglacial period for about 11,000 years. And during this interglacial period, all humans could go extinct. No cars, take everything off planet Earth. It's going to warm. The whole question of climate change, global warming, is are we speeding up the pace at which the Earth is warming? Are we making it warm at an unnatural pace? It's not is the Earth warming. Of course the Earth is warming. It's supposed to be warming. It warms, it cools. It warms, it cools. That's why we've had 7 major ice ages, and we'll have another major ice age. But this is a good sign for the short term. A lot more ice than we've had in a while. Global temperatures at a 3-year low. This is a good sign. But what it's also a sign of, when you have a warm NPO, subpolar North Atlantic cold SST anomaly and a weak La Nina Enzo, all of this together, again, suggests potentially some record cold this winter, and some record and almost guaranteed record cold for some, and guaranteed record snow for some. Subtropical storm formed up near Greenland. Did it? What a joke. Yeah, let me see it. Let's see this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What do we got to go to? Atlantic Basin? Yeah, I mean... yeah. It's not going to hurt anyone. It's not going to be very long lasting, but very interesting place for that to form. The fact that the waters are 74 plus degrees up there is pretty crazy. What if the jet stream sets a little bit farther south? Well, it could. It's not perfect science. There's been weak La Nina years where the jet stream is like this. And it's like everyone and their grandma has a freezing winter, except for like this area here and like southern Florida. Like there's been weak La Ninas where it's a very, very amplified polar jet. Yeah. So maybe with this type of setup, maybe it will be. I'm doing good, Leo. Tina, appreciate you. Autumn love. Oh, this is cool arts. How long is La Nina expected to hang around? Is El Nino possibly an issue in January? No. There's a 0% chance we'll move into an El Nino this winter. 0% chance. It's impossible. To transition into a different Enzo, your waters in the equatorial Pacific in the Nino 3.4 region need to move into that Enzo's anomaly for 3 months. So to move into the weak La Nina, our waters in the equatorial Pacific Nino 3.4 region had to be negative 0.5 degrees Celsius to negative 1 degree Celsius below average for 3 months. That's why I said I thought we'd transition into our weak La Nina in October, because 3 months ago, that's when the waters dipped in. There was a question of, would they wait till next month? Because we dipped into that weak La Nina territory, dipped back out, and then went right back in. But they took the first one, which I'm glad they did, because our jet's going to be setting up to the north here soon. But yeah, warm MPO, cold subpolar, North Atlantic SST anomaly. This is going to extra ice, extra snow up to the north. More sea ice in the northern hemisphere than we've had in 12 years. Global temperatures at a 3-year low. Guys, this is going to be a cold winter. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people. Mark my words. And I do think that anomaly up in the North Atlantic is going to give us... I wish I could bet it. Can I put a bet in on a major nor'easter this winter for the Mid-Atlantic and New England coast? Will the Pacific Northwest see any big windstorms like last year? It could. Warm NPO. Warm Northern Pacific Oscillation. You're gonna have an enhanced storm track potentially somewhere in the Northwest. It might set up in the Pacific Northwest, South, just off to the east. We'll have to see. But there's going to be more storms somewhere up there. Oh, yeah. No. I think we're going to be in a weak La Nina through at least January. We may transition back into Enzo neutral in February. We may transition back into an Enzo neutral in February. I do think there's a high chance that next summer/winter we're in an El Nino next year. But you can't go from a La Nina to an El Nino in a span of like 2 to 3 months. It's not even possible. Yeah. Lindsay, what's poppin'? I'm doing good. I'm glad to be home from my work trip. I had to spend my birthday in the middle of... I had to spend my birthday in Lebanon, New Jersey, learning about how to read general liability contracts. Not exactly where I want it to be. I keep seeing trends for how much colder air end of October. Will Halloween be chilly? It could be. We're going to hit a point in October and November where we're going to be stuck in a pattern of cold anomalies for a while. It's coming. Where I live in Montana looks wonderfully snowy. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A new flash flood warning has been issued.
I wonder what the GFS thinks for its 46-day outlook. Let's look at the guys. Remember, this is an outlook. I look at it to see how aggressive it's being with the outlook, because if it's being more aggressive, you know it's seeing better storm track and colder temperatures ahead. That's the 32-day outlook. Interesting. Just like the 1 month outlook where it thinks snow could be within the next 32 days. Interesting. What's our GFS? What's our GFS weekly? So GEFS extended. 35-day. Let's take a look at this. Look at that. November. Canadian did really good. There's a Canadian likes a lot of cold air in this region. For November. And then look at the Canadian for December, January, February. Very cold for the north, but don't put too much into it. CFS. I wonder what the European's seeing, because the European and CFS typically don't see a ton of cold. I wonder what the European seasonal is looking like. The Euro doesn't really see cold anomalies, only warm anomalies. So when you see something like this, that's wild to see on the Euro. Canadian. Let's look at our Canadian winter 32-day outlook. Canadians being pretty aggressive with snow too. Canadians being the most aggressive with snow over the next month. Yeehaw, ride him, cowboy. Oh my gosh. Yo, shout out Yali. I was so late. What if the jet stream? Yeah, it's it. How did the jet stream set up last year? Well, last year, where are we in? We were in a neutral last winter, weren't we? We were supposed to enter weak La Nina last year, and no. They were thinking we were going to be in a moderate La Nina last year, and I don't think we ever even got out of neutral. Did we? I don't think we did. That's why it was weird last year. But it was kind of like this. But we had a pretty cold December and January out here. We didn't get the storm tracks though, because the jet stream wasn't doing stuff for us. We did have that big Arctic outbreak that amplified our polar jet a little bit, to where it dipped down far enough to bring freezing temperatures to the Gulf. That's when we got all that snow down at the Gulf. But it wasn't very nice. We weren't getting any storms at the coast. 15 minutes. I wasn't that bad. Oh, I gotta verify that. One second, guys. There we go. Missy Ann, I appreciate it. What do I think for southeastern VA for snow this year? Virginia. You guys are going to need that nor'easter if you want snow this year. And I'm banking on it. Write it down. You would probably be included in that that nor'easter snow if we got it with the setup I think we're gonna have. So what do I think? I don't think you're gonna see many snowstorms this winter. I think you're gonna see one though big snowstorm for Southeast Virginia. That's what happens in nor'easter years. It's not a ton of snowstorms. It's a couple really huge ones. I'm leaning into it. That anomaly's sticking out like a sore thumb. Yeah, AccuWeather says below average temperatures for the Midwest. Yeah, a 3-year-old could see that. Weak La Nina's temperature confidence, like I said, it's like 80-90% for the whole central Midwest, Ohio Valley, central and northern plains, northern Rockies. It's almost a lock it in on below average temperatures for at least 1.5 to 2 months of winter at least. West Colorado, East Colorado, I'm way more confident in cold anomalies in West Colorado. Again, our jet's going to set up somewhere like this. Does it set up here? Then all of Colorado is going to be above average this winter. Does it set up here? Split it? Does it come down through southern? And then you've got, it all depends. Yeah, this is going to be a battleground for temperature and snow in here. Battleground here as well. What's popping? Wait, what happened? Darts. Who scored the other touchdowns? Dude, Jackson Dart's better than Tom Brady. I told you. Jackson Dart's the best quarterback to ever live. Called it. I don't care. Fight me. Scatterboo and Dart, Hall of Fame. Lock it in. Lock it in. We're on stream, by the way. Saquon who? We've got Scatterboo.
Look at the score. You see the score?
That's right. Oh, I love it. Is the game over?
Yeah, it's over.
Okay, good. Because I'm getting nervous.
No, we're not.
Let's go. Hall of Fame. Lock it in.
Yep, lock it in right now.
Lock it in. I'm going to go put my bet in. Matt, I appreciate it. I live in Texas now. I've been living in Florida. Texas weather is a bit crazy. Well, yeah, where you live, Yali. Sassy Connor. Wait, what did I say? Oh, I didn't mean to come off as mean when I said, yeah, 3-year-old could know that. I was just joking because it's like, I was just agreeing. Like, yeah, it's going to be cold in the Midwest. I just thought about it. I was like, was that mean? I didn't mean to be mean. Stays flooding. Facts. Omaha, Nebraska snow this year. Omaha, Nebraska is another area where you would think you're going to see a higher frequency of snowstorms this year. More snowstorms. But with how our jet sets up in a weak La Nina and with a warmer NPO, which gives you a more active storm track through the plains, Alberta Clippers typically don't drop a ton of snow. If they drop 6 inches, that's a lot for an Alberta Clipper, for these Clippers that come through here. But when you have that set up and a more active track here with colder weather, yeah, you could snow 13, 14, 15 days in a month. No huge snowstorms, but that's fun. It stacks up. It's cold. So it depends how that track sets up, Oh, snap. Yo, shout out Yali. That was sick. Legend. Y'all, you're the best. I appreciate you. I did make a winter prediction video. I'm going to adjust it. Yeehaw, ride 'em, cowboy. Yeehaw, ride 'em, cowboy. Come on, I know I got that one for sure. One of them. But the only thing I'm going to adjust, well, no, I don't know. Everything I've been seeing develop, I'm looking at my winter forecast that I made a month and a half ago, and I'm like, no, yeah, it's still very, I think it's still good. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, but I mean, it's there. What, should I pull up my own video? Should we watch my winter forecast video on my stream? There were some things I didn't see though in that video, like the cool SST in the North Atlantic. C. No, I did both. I did 2 in a row, B. Oh, but I missed yours, like, on the thing. Okay. C, and I appreciate you. Yo, myself. You know what I need to start doing? We'll talk about this. Just need to start clipping. Clipping for content. Because I feel like funny stuff happens all the time in stream. What's that severe weather outlook map on the side? Oh, it just scrolls through what's coming up. It's the most updated. See, it's on severe hail outlook day 1. It'll scroll through everything, but we can look at that on here. We can look at that on here. We can go to national, US, and then we can go into SPC outlooks, 1 to 8 day overlook. No severe weather in the near future. General thunderstorms for the next 3 days. Although I think that's going to change as we get down to day 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're going to start seeing potential there. If we go into, what is it? CSU severe. CSU might see something down here, 3 to 8. Why does it do this to me? Come on, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. All right, CSU isn't working right now. Whatever. What wind speed would cancel an outdoor event? It depends. Are we talking sustained or gust? Because if you have 30-mile-per-hour sustained winds, you're probably not having an outdoor event. 30-mile-per-hour gusts, you might have an outdoor event. I would say gust-wise, if you're getting up to 30, it's a lot. I would say, like, if you have sustained at around 15 or 20 miles per hour, you probably shouldn't have an outdoor event. And if you're gusting up there near 30, 35, you probably don't want to have it either. Yo, Angie, what's poppin'? Wait. Lorette, I appreciate you. My neck hurts. I was traveling today. Ugh. Stiff. Andy, I appreciate you. Oh my god, I have to go to the office tomorrow and work all day. On a Friday. I'll be working till 7. But then I will be streaming. What do I think about Kentucky this winter? I think Kentucky usually sees above average precipitation in this climate setup. Jasmine, I appreciate you. Hand heart. Oh, Jasmine, you're the best. I didn't realize I was 100. I never realized that. Listen, Kentucky usually sees above average precipitations with this type of climate pattern, weak La Nina and the other stuff that's going on here. And they're usually below average. I think most, if not all, of Kentucky will hit their snow averages and someone's going to be over. Pittsburgh should have a good winter. Again, Great Lakes region, Western PA included. I know it's a little bit off the Great Lakes, but this area, I mean, I can pull it back up. Here, let me show you. Precipitation temperature anomalies with weak La Ninas. You can notice here. Look where we get above average precipitation a lot of times with a weak La Nina. That's including portions of Ohio, West Virginia, Western PA, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Northern Alabama, Northern Mississippi. Not a bad chance to have above average precipitation. And then you go and you look at our temperature anomalies. Well, now you're like, okay, so we're usually above average precipitation and below average temperatures. What happens when you're above average precipitation and below average temperatures in winter? A lot of times that can lead to a little bit more snow. So Jules, I appreciate you. YK snow? Again, New York City. I'm banking that we have our first big nor'easter that we've had in 5 years out there. So I think there's going to be a big. I think we're going to have a mega snowstorm for New York City this year. Who knows? Maybe we'll get two, but I think the almighty nor'easter returns based on what we're seeing out in the North Atlantic currently. Does the European see this, by the way? I want to see this real quick. Does the European see this hurricane down here or cyclone down here in the... Huh, no, it doesn't. Oh, it does just later. Interesting. I did want to take a quick little look at if we have anything updated for our nor'easter this weekend. Look at that. That would be such a big snowstorm if we were in December or January. Oh, you know? Okay, I guess I'm just too old. Wait. Idaho, what do I think the winter could be like? I think Idaho's probably going to be below average temperatures and average to slightly above average snow, except for southwestern Iowa. Southwestern Iowa could end up sitting under the jet stream for a good portion of winter. Not necessarily, but central to northern Idaho is probably going to have a really good winter, very wintry winter. Anomaly wise, Angie said I'm 50 and I knew. Well, shucks. Yeah, Gavin. I said earlier. I think most of Kentucky will hit its snow averages and be below average this winter. It's just it's pretty typical for the Ohio Valley down through the Mississippi Valley and Tennessee Valley to have a colder winter with a little more precipitation. I'm concerned about the southeast, south central, southwest, and potentially the Pacific Northwest with a little bit of a drought. Yeah, the southeast. Sometimes you do get these. I mean, you can see. Sometimes you do get these anomalous winters where you just have the entire U.S. in a much cooler winter, but the southeast tends to struggle a little bit winter-wise in this type of pattern. There's nothing that's pointing anything. There's nothing pointing out to me that says it could be cooler than average, other than that SST anomaly in the North Atlantic. Because if we do get a negative NAO that holds, that could actually push extra cold air down to the southeast. That would be the jet would just have to be amplified enough, so it's possible. Yeah, maybe not, Angie. I'm heavily just online for weather stuff. Loving the cold weather in Ohio. Will we see another cold blast? Here, look. Let's go to our 12Z Euro. Back into the U.S. Anomalies. I'm going to get off here in a second. I was traveling all day today, and so I'm pretty tired. And then I have a big, long day at work tomorrow because I wasn't able to get done anything while I was traveling for work. So it's going to be an unfortunate Friday for me. Here's a little bit moving forward. Cold temperatures stick out east here. Average to slightly below average temperatures stick out east here all the way through Saturday. Sunday, We may see a warm-up back out east. Looks like the coast tries to stay cold through Sunday. And with this nor'easter pushing up the coast, that'll bring some cooler temperatures into coastal mid-Atlantic. Coastal New England early next week. But then we get warm temperatures that really want to settle back into much of the country. Plains out east. But of course, it's fall. And the Euro sees more attempts at cold air to sink back in here. You can see here some troughing potentially out here and some troughing out west. So we're going to see the push and pull of cold and warm air for a little bit here. But we're in a weak La Nina now, which means we'll probably, as the days go by, we'll get closer and closer to seeing this setup where we're going to probably see consistent cold air into these regions. Lincoln, Nebraska. Where's Lincoln, Nebraska? Isn't that like here? Why am I forgetting? Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, yeah, I was right. I was close. Where did I put it? Yeah, I was close. What did I say? I said here. It's here. Okay. You'd expect to have if you averaged out your winter December to February, you'd expect to have a colder winter than normal. Definitely. There's pretty high chance of that. I don't think you're going to have if you asked me now, I think you'll probably hit your snow averages, which is probably a decent amount of snow, Lincoln, Nebraska. Is it possible you hit above average? Yeah, it depends how far that jet stream wants to set up in this region, because we're going to have an active storm track here. Could set up as far south as Lincoln, Nebraska, and then you'd be on the high side of snow for this winter. But I think you're probably going to hit your averages snow-wise, and you'll probably have a colder winter than normal. Sometimes with weak La Ninas, all of Texas sees a colder winter except for this area, this region down here, southeastern. Sorry, Houston. What was my prediction for severe weather in Dixie Alley? We were showing that earlier. I was showing that earlier. Where was I? We move forward here, and this would be a potential outbreak in Tornado Alley next weekend. This would be a potential severe weather through the Ohio Valley, and then this would be a big outbreak through Dixie Alley right here. But this is too far out. It's at the end of the run, so. But there's some suggestions of some not just severe weather days, but some outbreak days moving forward. The GFS sees it too. Are we on the Euro right now? Yeah, the GFS actually sees a more aggressive look for severe weather. No surprise. Will Texas Panhandle have some cold weather anytime soon? Well, let me go back here. Your Euro Weekly thinks, look at all that snow, that the Texas Panhandle could have some snow in it in the next 32 days. It's possible. I don't think so, but yeah, we'll get some cold air moving into the Texas Panhandle, and northern Texas does pretty good with this type of climate setup going into winter, cold wise. Yeah, like I said, I think Kentucky's gonna have above average precipitation this winter and below average temperatures. All right. I'm tired. I appreciate all you. I appreciate my new 11 followers. Shout out to you guys. If you're new in here, I stream every day except for Wednesday and Saturday. And, well, there's some exceptions, obviously. Sometimes I'm doing stuff. And post every day when I'm not out of town working and whatever. But pretty consistent. We got a Discord. Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Throw me a friend request on Discord, Connor's Climate Corner HQ, and you'll get in there for free. I'll make you part of the climate crew, and everything you want or need to know about weather is in there. I put updates in there every day. We're trying to build that community up in that Discord. It's really awesome. So, Connor's Climate Corner HQ. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, Discord. I should probably get on Snapchat. I don't know. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate my mods. Winter's going to get crazy. I might be looking for some more mods because, I think last winter I did like 20 million views in like a 2-month span on my lives. I had one live with like 1.5 million viewers. So things are going to get active here as we get in the winter. People love winter, and I love snow forecasting and live snow coverage. Telling you how much snow I think you're going to get, what's going to happen. It's fun time. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'll be back on tomorrow. I should be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I'll put a video in the morning. Dallas, again, northern. I'd consider that northern Texas. Weak La Nina likes to provide a colder winter than normal to northern Texas. So, sir, wait, what happened? Oh. What? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh B, what you texted me, or am I missing something in Discord? What's going on? What happened? Okay, yeah, I got it. True. Well, I can actually do. I can do that off stream. I figured it out. So. No, I can do it off. I can do it off. I forgot. All right, you guys are awesome. Love you all. You're the best. I'll be back on tomorrow. And yeah. Peace.